The national opposition movement is calling for a national protest this Monday to the National Assembly. Do you have an idea of the scope of this mobilization, and perchance are you part of it?
Mr. Victor, I am an active citizen. And this action our collective silence and docility is what has enabled Akpabio to convert the National Assembly to what it has become.
Is it about Akpabio alone?
It is about Akpabio as the leader. He is going to be held accountable because today their 10th assembly is the most unproductive and probably the most corrupt in the history of parliament.
What of the House of Reps?
Of course, he's the president of the National Assembly. So by extension, both the deputy senate president, the speaker, the deputy speaker, and every person that is in the 10th National Assembly. Whether you support it or not, we want to know the actions you are taking to resist this criminality and corruption. You cannot be so cavalier in your own impunity. So whatever the national opposition movement is doing, we are also calling on Nigerians, because if we fail to resist this kind of brazen assault on democracy, we can foreclose Nigeria as an institution or as a nation that has its own integrity, where the people value our own lives. Imagine the criminality that took place in 2023 being consolidated on in 2027. Imagine this level of brazen corruption going on, where we are looking for more than 128 billion from the Ministry of Power, more than 210 trillion from the NNPC, yet the president, Tinubu, who is supposed to be helping to fight corruption, wrote off the debt of the same NNPC that is under active investigation in the National Assembly. And guess what? The chairman of that committee, who is supposed to be an opposition lawmaker, Senator Ali Wadada Ahmed from W0rst, has allegedly defected to the APC, but his defection has not been read on the floor of the Senate because they do not want to hand over the chairmanship of that committee, because he has interest in running for Nasarawa State Governor. Look at what is going on, and Nigerians are condoning it. More than 200 or more than 150 persons were killed in Kwara State how many days ago? It is not breaking news. It is not headline news. The president will not even acknowledge it because it does not involve Anthony Joshua, who is a British citizen. What a shame of a country. Nigeria today exists so that other countries can learn how not to govern their countries. Akpabio has one job. It is to ensure that they crown Tinubu, whether by hook or by crook, to impose an incompetent and incapacitated leader on Nigerians even without an elections. Tinubu knows that he does not have any pathway to victory. He may not even campaign across the 36 states. He may not even campaign. So what they need is to legitimize a rigging machine. If we do not resist it, we are done for. Because I have no other country. As a young person, I must live and thrive in Nigeria, and it must work in my lifetime.
What will be the role of the movement besides just organizing a electoral reform protest? And perchance, do you have an inkling as to those behind this national opposition movement?
I mean, national opposition movement should be the people's opposition. I want Nigeria's conversation to move away from political figures as opposition to we, the more than 200 million victims of dysfunctional leadership. The persons who are opposition lawmakers or opposition politicians who are running for office today, sir, what do they have to lose if they do not become president? Let us take a sample of them. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, a former vice president, a former governor, Amici, a former governor. So they need to do what they need to do. Because unfortunately, Nigeria has not even seen the kind of opposition that the APC mounted in 2014. If it were under a Jonathan government, imagine what Lai Mohammed would be doing now. Imagine where Tinubu and all of them, Odige Oyegun and all of them, where they will be at this point. They will hold Jonathan by the jugular. So we have completely allowed them, and it is almost Nigeria is like a country that has been taken hostage. And instead of the hostages to wake up and fight for our lives, we are cooperating with our kidnappers and hostage takers. God forbid that I'll be part of that kind of system. So as it is today, the entire opposition movement, beyond electoral reform, must mobilize for 2027. Because at the heart of this matter is to ensure that there is voter apathy. Everything you are seeing is a deliberate attempt to ensure that Nigerians do not come out to vote. They do not believe in the system. Because remember 2023, benefit of hindsight. More than 93 million registered to vote. 87 million collected PVCs. Less than 30 million came out for election. Tinubu is seated in Aso Rock with less than 9 million votes. In a country of more than 200 million people, a person has a mandate of less than 9 million. If you write an exam and get less than 50%, are you supposed to be promoted? Is that how it works? Nigeria's democracy is a charade. So beyond that, we must fight against this apathy that they want to deliberately build, so that people will say they don't rig them, it cannot be free and fair, let us sit. No, we must use this as an anger to mobilize ourselves. If we come out to vote in millions, they cannot rig. Tinubu and his APC minions will be sent home where they belong and let Nigeria move forward.
As we say in local parlance, see finish.
Yes.
If the Senate decides to be stubborn and kill the aspirations of Nigerians for a transparent electoral process and democracy, what will the opposition movement and Nigerians do?
And I will respond by telling you that if they stole your mandate in 2023 or they stole your mandate for the first time, shame on them. If you let them steal it a second time, shame on you. How many are the persons who are in the National Assembly who will decide to see us finish? The Senate has 109, the National Assembly, the Reps has 360. Let us calculate the 31 APC governors who are standing on the mandate which they shall collapse. Calculate the ministers and all of them. How many persons are holding Nigeria hostage? So Nigerians must come to a position where we ask ourselves, the power of the people and the criminals in power, who is greater? What exactly should be the position of the people? For how long are we ready to condone this level of suffering and inhumanity? Where people will die and it has become normal statistics. Every problem you are talking about in Nigeria today has been there before. If you do nothing about changing leadership, the people who caused those troubles are preparing to come back. So we must hold them at that point. Elections have consequences, and that is what we are dealing with. One president flippantly said subsidy regime is gone. Till today, he has not accounted for 1 kobo he took out from subsidy. Yet he wants to tax people. This is a tax master administration where you only continue to take from people. We make sacrifices. We are the subsidy for the lives of the rich. And that is why you can have people like Oshomole, who started as NLC president, who, according to himself, was the son of a farmer. Today, farmer picking, poor man picking, they private jet, they massage. I'm sure maybe he even works in a spa.
You have for long warned Nigerians about loopholes in our electoral act.
Yes.
From what we've seen now, this latest decision by the Senate, is it a confirmation of those fears?
Absolutely. I have always maintained that the National Assembly as it is today has become an extension of the presidency. It is an APC town hall, almost filled with political bandits who are there to satisfy personal greed and personal ambition, not to serve the will and well-being of the people. Every law that is passed in the National Assembly must be carefully scrutinized by the people because there must be loopholes. That is why today you are talking about a fraudulent or a forged tax law. One that is supposed to be the signature policy of the current Tinubu-led master strategist government. Yet there is forgery on it, and they are able to come out clear to tell us what exactly is in it. The same National Assembly where more than 200 trillion allegedly missing from NNPC till today have not been able to investigate to find out where did the monies go to. Money that is more than the entire debt of the country. So even the so-called Electoral Act Amendment Bill, if Nigerians do not pay attention, it is not just in passing it, it is in the details. Look at the clauses that remove some of the lawmakers as delegates. You remember they passed a bill that shortchanged some of them, and that is why they could not act as delegates in primaries. It has been returned back. They are considering clauses that are going to enable them to give powers to persons, inmates in the prisons to begin to vote. Who is going to verify them? How are you going to know? Before tomorrow you come, they say one of the prisons in Oko Central, all the people votes that went to APC. The one in Agodi prison in Ibadan went to. So there are deliberate attempts to ensure that this document does not guarantee free and fair elections. You cannot have a rubber stamp in it where the president goes there and he's greeted on their mantra, on their mandate, they shall collapse. So it is a captured assembly. Only the Nigerian people can put pressure to get what they want.
If you are to explain to the average Nigerian on the streets,
yes,
this latest move by Akpabio Senate,
yes,
vis-a-vis the electronic transmission of results,
yes,
how will you explain to the person?
I will explain to you as a Nigerian to know that one of the only ways to ensure that INEC and human beings do not rig your elections and manipulate results has been taken away from you. Electronic transmission of results real time means you are going to boycott all of that moving from polling units to ward collation center to local government to state before it gets to Abuja. That is the channel of criminality that happens during elections. Now that law is supposed to mandate that from the polling units, the results must be transmitted in real time to a central server where everybody will have access to it. And it must mandate it to be justiciable. Because in 2023, remember that INEC used the same electronic technology, but when they went to court, the judiciary said it is not known to the Electoral Act. So what exactly Section 60 subsection 5 says? The presiding officer shall transmit results in a way and manner as prescribed by INEC. Did INEC prescribe a way? Yes, paragraph 38, 39 of the INEC guidelines clearly talks about electronic transmission of result. But the court say it is not an omission to the act. So what we were telling the National Assembly is take what is on the act and put it on the, take what is on the INEC guidelines, let it reflect on the act and amend the relevant section of the Constitution so that it is at par. And today the National Assembly is telling us that there are reasons why it cannot work because of technology.
If you are to advise,
yes,
or your voice or your views are to supersede every other view, what specific sections of the Electoral Act must be amended if Nigerians truly are to enjoy compulsory real-time e-transmission of results?
The section that talks about electronic transmission of results, section 60 from 1, 2, 3 to 5, to look at it. What exactly are we talking about, this use of electronic technology? Mr. Victor, do you know that electronic technology is a baby project of INEC itself? What exactly was written in INEC position paper 21 by the outgone professor of glitches, Mahmoud Yakubu, was that to reduce human interference, we need electronic technology, where situation rooms will be manned by almost every person in the opposition to have real-time, monitoring of these results. If we do not do so, it then means we are leaving it in the discretion of human beings who can decide to manipulate it as we want to. Now, if we fix that electronic technology and make it mandatory, we now need to build, on that kind of system where electronic technology is being monitored by every person. Because, by the way, INEC has been awarding contracts to contractors worth hundreds of millions on the use of electronic technology. Who has been held accountable for the glitches that occurred in 2023? What happened to those persons and the monies that were given to them? And the Senate media spokesperson, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, I listened to his interview and it was a terrible disgrace. I have never felt more ashamed listening to a Nigerian leader. Any Nigerian lawmaker or politician who in 2026 believes that electronic technology will not work for elections is a thief. Anybody who is saying electronic technology will not work because of network issues is a thief and is trying to steal the mandate of the people. And I will tell you why. INEC, led by Mahmoud Yakubu, visited the then NCC Director Umar Dambata as far back as 2018. They set up a steering committee on how to use this electronic technology. They invited telcos, including like MTN, Glo, and the rest of them, say, let us get expertise and technical advice on how you have been helping JAM to conduct CBT tests. Unfortunately, somehow it was close to 2019. Buhari needed to do the elections he needed to do, and they did not implement it. Fast forward to 2023. Femi Gbajabiamila, who is the current chief of staff, when he was speaker, invited NCC officials to the National Assembly to ask them, do we have enough broadband to power electronic transmission of results? They say, well, some places we have 3G, some places we have 2G. It was INEC who issued a statement to the National Assembly saying, look, we are not telling you to pass a law on something we are not implementing already. We only need legislation to back up an act that we are already implementing as we speak. So where does it come to the conversation that there is not enough electronic technology? Mr. Victor, as we are talking now, terrorists and bandits are having TikTok live videos in the forest. Kidnappers are able to reach people, including thick forests like Sambisa. The only network that Nigeria does not have is to power an electoral process that should be the foundation of our democracy. Look at the mischief. Look at the level of mischief that leaders. So if you know that in 2026 you still believe that electronic network will have issues to give us free and fair election, then you should leave that place you call the National Assembly. You do not need to be there. Let persons who have the capacity to move this country forward go there and fix the nation, because you should be thoroughly ashamed of yourself. You are amongst leaders most miserable.
Let's be realistic. Given our level of development, do you believe Nigeria currently has the infrastructure to support full real-time electronic transmission of results nationwide?
If we do not have it, then it is a terrible shame on all of us that the giant of Africa in the 21st century is talking about lack of technology.
Self-acclaimed giant.
Self-acclaimed giant of Africa. What is Ghana doing? Democratic Republic of Congo uses electronic technology. What is South Africa using? What did Senegal use? Nigeria is the only country that leads in terms of terrorism, banditry, corruption, stealing of money. But when it comes to technology that will advance progress and human life, we are backwards. India has a population of over 1 billion people. Their registered voters are more than 300 million, almost more than the entire population of Nigeria. They do not only do electronic transmission, they do electronic voting in India. So we are not even inventing the technology. We are to adopt existing technology. How do banks move money every day and it is not affected without hacking? How do the account numbers and everything of politicians have never been hacked? What does not work in Nigeria is what politicians do not want to work. There is maximum technology. We can, even the so-called beavers machine have become equipments of criminality. We can use immovable electronic devices. We can collapse all our elections to one day. Everything, models have been put forward and presented to the National Assembly. They know it is high-level mischief because, see, Mr. Victor, Sir, if Nigerians have free and fair elections, we are draining the swamp. More than 80 to 90% of the persons who are there will go on compulsory extinction and retirement from politics. So they know that that is the only leverage Nigerians have. That is why they will pretend we are fixing coastal highway. You are spending 15 trillion. We don't need a quarter of that to be able to fix technology for elections. Can Tinubu leave coastal highway and give Nigerians free and fair election? Who is afraid of free and fair election? They say he's making bold steps. He's making bold moves. He's the master strategist. Person, they make bold moves and you they fear free and fair election. You have been de facto governor of Lagos State for more than 20 years. You handpick every governor that goes there. You can remove them. Yet, more than 26 years later, you still need thuggery, violence, and rigging to win your own home state. You have a problem. You have a problem you are not dealing with. And it is not Nigerians you will hold to ransom.